When we talk about conmen from the past, normally they're met with disdain, disgust. There's a sense that all these people need to be put behind bars. But every now and then, a scammer comes along who really captures the imagination, who shows us the foolishness of our biases and how easy it is to trick us, and it almost delights us in a weird way. One such example is Frank Abagnale. He was the guy featured in Catch Me If You Can, the movie, and the whole idea is that he spent his life sort of faking being an airline pilot, an attorney, a doctor, but he did it in such a way that seemed perhaps to not be for money, but for the sheer thrill of getting away with it. And because of that, he's become something of an icon and even has moved on from his scammer ways into something more respectable. And that latter type of scammer is what I'm interested in today. Because the person we're talking about today is a scammer, yes. But he also, when I review his files, I can't help but find myself fascinated by this person, fascinated by the doctor of love.
But the teen later told police he'd never attended medical school.
I don't appreciate your tone. If you could stop recording, please, I will lie like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 million studio. I'm your host, Coffeezilla, and today we're talking about the man, myth, the legend, the doctor of love himself, Malachi Love Robinson. Dodge that. This is him right here, guys. You may know him, you may not, but he was featured on the local news a while back as a young con man. Let's take a listen.
An alleged fraud of such audacity, such tenacity that it boggles the mind. It involves an 18-year-old baby-faced kid who's accused of masquerading as a doctor. Police say treating patients out of his own clinic.
That's right. Dr. Malachi Love Robinson, or Dr. Love, as we'll be calling him throughout the rest of this piece, was a 19-year-old kid who faked being a doctor and set up a private practice and was treating patients.
He has a lab coat and a stethoscope.
How's that?
But police say this baby-faced physician doesn't have an MD.
Are you a fraud? Because it seems like everything you're saying to me is evasive.
I don't appreciate your tone.
Gosh, I love that. You get caught and you go, I don't appreciate your tone, actually. I don't like when you say that. But let's set the stage, okay? Let's back it up before we get into the heated confrontation. Dr. Love didn't start by being confronted on being a doctor. He actually had practice. He had dreams of being a doctor for a fake doctor. Dreams of being a fake doctor for a long time. Ever since he was 17, he sort of roamed the halls, it sounds like, of various medical places, pretending and just sort of like walking around with a lab coat on.
The police report says he was walking around the halls in a doctor's coat.
I believe it said Department of Anesthesiology on it.
Witnesses reporting he'd been roaming the hospital halls for a month.
Dude, how does anybody mistake this guy for a doctor? I like the serious expression though. Dude, this guy's committed to the character.
This story was broadcast everywhere, like I'm some insane maniac.
Well, nobody else is faking being a doctor. At least we can say you're a one of one. That's one thing you'll notice actually about Malachi is that he has a tremendous amount of confidence that belies his young teenage years. And that's something that I find fascinating. I think most people find fascinating about scammers is they typically have an above average ability to BS their way through situations that they have no idea about. I'm sure Malachi has never been on the local news before, or definitely not the national news before, but he BS's his way through it like a pro.
Didn't snatch out a baby. I didn't do any of that.
Police snapped this picture of the lab coat in his car. On one lapel, the title anesthesiologist. On the other, his name.
Oh, that's a bad luck, bud. That's where you get in trouble. I think probably if he had walked through with just a lab coat, he probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble. But now that you fake your credentials, that's the problem.
The hospital did not press charges, claiming in a statement the individual never had contact with any hospital patients and did not gain access to any patient care areas.
Now, by the way, I'll be skipping through this because there's a full report on this. Great investigative reporting by ABC News. You can go check it out. It's called Florida Teen Accused of Posing as a Doctor Denies Diagnosing Patients. I want to skip to the part where they actually go into his clinic where he was... his private practice and show you what he was doing. This kid is unbelievable.
Attempting to pass as a medical doctor, this time in his very own clinic.
This is the New Birthing Life Medical Center.
So he doesn't know that this girl walking with him, like, is an undercover reporter.
Labor law posters up on the wall. So that way, they are visible to the public.
Law, right?
Dude, what? Oh my gosh, he goes, hey, look, labor laws, that means I'm legit.
So that way, they are visible to the public.
And she goes, you're following the law, as she knows that he's faking being a doctor, and he thinks he's getting away with this. That's unbelievable.
All right.
Of course, that was after he removed his lab coat and stethoscope. And when you peel back the tape, the sign on the door has his name and those two crucial letters.
No, Dr. Love, no. You gotta learn, bud. Now, this case gets more serious when we learn of accusations that Dr. Love was not merely playing doctor, he was actually acting as a doctor and treating patients for money. He was immediately confronted on this.
86-year-old woman. Police say he treated her recently for severe stomach pain and charged her nearly $3,500.
What services did you provide in exchange for that money?
I can tell you this. Accusations are merely accusations.
Hey, dude, don't ever start a question with another, like a statement that has nothing to do with the question. I'm sure that's how Brian Rose answers any kind of questions. Accusations are just accusations.
And services, you'd have to define that. Whether she paid for me to just show up, that's up to her.
What? This kid is unreal. He's a legend. He never defeated at the BS game. He's saying I didn't even give her services. She paid me $3,500 to show up. She was so happy to see my face.
Denying the fact that she paid you $3,500 or so, correct?
No, I am denying that.
Are you a fraud?
I don't appreciate your tone. I don't appreciate the way you're portraying this interview to actually be.
And then a moment we didn't expect.
I don't know where you're receiving this information from, but it is inaccurate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut this interview short.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Look at that, his outrage about getting called out truthfully. Dude, he's 19. The kid could be a Hollywood star actor. This is such a power play. I don't even know what to think of this.
I don't know where you're receiving this information from, but it is inaccurate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut this interview short.
But he has said this may not cut his medical career short, saying he hopes to open another.
Look at that. He hits him with this kid's a star, dude. Normally, people would be walking out with their head ducked, like low. This kid is going like, you'll be hearing from my lawyers, dude. So here's the thing. He goes to jail for this. Now, he gets talked to in jail. He served like a 3-year stint. He really gave a compelling message to Inside Edition here.
Behind that deception.
As a kid, I think it's always been my dream, to be a physician. I guess the bigger picture was seeing the smiles, people thinking that you are something that you're not.
He sounds pretty compelling, huh? Like he really is remorseful for what he did and that he really just deep down wanted to be a doctor all along. Well, he got out recently, and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he is once again in the news. Dr. Love is rearrested in Palm Beach County. I regret to inform you guys.
In January 2020, according to the police, under the name Alex Robinson, he got a job with United States of Freight, a shipping brokerage based in Delray Beach. Delray police say he stole more than $10,000 from the company by diverting payments to the company into his own bank account.
Now, this is the problem with scammers of all kinds. Because once you scam by pretending to be a quack, you can never go back. It's an old saying. And this is unfortunately the sad part of scamming is I think for some people, it's just a disease. They can't help it. They're pathological liars. But for me, at least, Dr. Love represents one of the most interesting figures in scamming. Not because what I think he did was right. I think it's incredibly dangerous to fake being a doctor, but because his motivations were so different than your average guru. It wasn't to get a Lambo. It wasn't to teach a bunch of 15-year-olds how to dropship. For him, it was about being seen like he was in a position of authority and he was helping you, regardless of whether he could actually help you or not. And I think the fact that he's convinced and tricked so many people along the way is a testament to our human fragility when it comes to trust. We're so quick to trust other people if they have the right thing on, if they have the right coat on. It's an old saying that if you put a construction outfit on and you carry a clipboard, you can get into any job site in the world. And unfortunately, Examples like this are reminders that we need to be careful and check our human biases. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where our story ends, with Dr. Love Robinson once again committing another form of fraud, but going down in my heart as one of the most lovable and hilarious scammers. I think when he gets out, he should try acting. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick, trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.